Real estate in Cyprus is a very interesting and profitable investment that not many people know about. Cyprus property values have been rising since decades and it's very safe because it's under EU regulation. However, in a gold rush there are always black sheeps, so it's very important to watch this video until the very end. Hey everybody, it's Rico and in this video I will give you my top 3 best ways to finding the best property deals here in Cyprus, absolute bargains, and the last one is actually a hidden secret that most people here in Cyprus don't want me to talk about, but I will still do it for you guys. Before we start with the video, we need to differentiate between northern and southern properties. For northern properties, I made a clear statement here in that video, definitely watch that. And in this video, we are talking about southern properties. Now, when it comes to real estate in Cyprus, a lot of people say it's a bubble. And yeah, that might be true, but if we think about it, what is not a bubble? A bubble just means that the value of something grows exponentially fast, irrationally fast because of speculation. However, if the demand in Cyprus for properties is so big, isn't that a rational justification? I'm not saying property value will go up forever. That's not possible, of course. I'm not saying you should put all of your money into Cyprus real estate and you should do your own research and calculations. Anyway, let's get to the juicy part, and these are my top 3 best ways to finding properties in Cyprus. Number 1 is look for yourself. That's actually the most obvious option, but a lot of people don't know how they should look for properties here in Cyprus because it's very different to most other countries. If I compare it with Germany, for example, it's as different as black and white. Okay, so this is how it works. We start by doing a big research and creating a list, like a master sheet. And there we add all of the available options with the most important key variables such as price, size, bedrooms, etc. In order to fill the list, we usually did the following. We researched the Facebook marketplace, Facebook groups for each city, the Bazaraki marketplace, and we contacted all of the listings there. With that, you should definitely have a lot of options already. However, because I live in Cyprus for 4 years, I already have an existing network of investors and of possible buyers. And that is why I also contact them. That means I send out some emails, some messages, and then I have another few options. If you're new to Cyprus or you don't even plan to move here, then you still have the option to drive around Cyprus in cities that you like, neighborhoods that you like, and you can look for sale signs. Then you can call the owners or you can call developers, for example, meet them for coffee or for dinner and give them your requirements, what you're looking for. Is it resale? Is it off-plan? Is it a house? Is it an apartment? A studio? All depends on what you're looking for. In general, we are very flexible with the property options. We don't care so much about the location, we don't care so much about the property type, because I'm not emotional when it comes to properties, I'm rather rational. So to me personally, it can be resale, it can be new, it can be an apartment, maisonette, house, villa, it all depends on my budget or the budget of the client. But you guessed it already, that sounds like a lot of work, and yes, it is. And even if you find the property that you absolutely love, you don't have the guarantee that you will actually get the property because there is big competition out there these days, especially when it comes to great deals. And don't forget the due diligence that you have to do for the paperwork, contracts, but also for the actual property. So in most cases, it makes sense to work with professionals. And this leads to way number 2, and that is a good agency. So this is where agencies and agents come into play. But I'm not talking about any kind of agents, I'm talking about licensed agents that have a great network. If you watch my older videos, you will realize that I never really recommended agents, but back then it was not necessary. These days it's absolutely necessary. In most cases you will not even find a good deal without an agent because he has a network. A good agent has a good network of investors and property owners that give him exclusivity. And that means he has off-market properties that you will not find anywhere else. He's basically just shifting properties within his network. He wants to buy, he wants to sell, okay, connect them. He wants to sell, he wants to buy, okay, connect them. That's what a good agent is actually there for. And what do I mean with licensed agent? In Cyprus, unfortunately, there are a lot of unlicensed agents and they are working with public properties only. That means they are basically just the middleman and they add their profit on top. That means the property at the end of the day, which is publicly available, will be just more expensive for you. and you could find it on the Facebook Marketplace anyway. So make sure you're working with professional agents, and you can even talk to 2, 3, 4 of them, because there is no law prohibiting you from doing that. So make sure you are treated well, and if you want to work with the best from the best, you can reach out to me via the video description and I will send you a list with some names and agents that I recommend. Now, last but most importantly, number 3, auctions. But again, not any kind of auctions, there are some very specific ones. First, there are some independent auction houses that do some auctions from time to time. However, there is something that is even more interesting and more frequent, and this is bank auctions. In the past, Cyprus banks gave out loans to literally everybody, even to people who were clearly not able to pay it back. And they call it defaulted loans, or also red loans, which we call it here in Cyprus. And because up to this very day there are still some red loans, from time to time the Cyprus banks foreclose some of the properties and they sell it for absolute bargain prices, because the properties are still valued at years ago. And just so you know, there are also other reasons why the banks see some of the properties, it's not just the red loans. And believe me, the auctions are very interesting. I saw houses being sold for 80,000 euros, whereas the market value is clearly double that. Recently we saw a studio apartment for 60,000 euros being sold, whereas the market value is at least 100,000. But obviously you cannot just walk into the bank and buy an auctioned house. There is actually a big process behind it. But in short, you need a licensed agent to fill out a form, then you can apply for the property, and a few days or weeks later you will find out if you won the auction or not. And you need to know the following: the actual winners of the auctions are never disclosed. That is 1, very good for your anonymity. But 2, this actually shows something very interesting, and that is maybe something is going on behind the curtains. But I'm not saying this is true, this is probably not. But it has me wondering for some time now why they never disclose the winners. It's so interesting. Anyway, this again shows how important a professional and licensed agent actually is. My recommendation is down in the description, and even if you don't do the auctions, negotiating is a big part of getting a good property deal, and you can do it on your own, yes, sure, but it's definitely better to do it with a local partner who knows how the culture here in Cyprus is. And if you want to know what hidden costs arise when you purchase a property here in Cyprus, definitely make sure to watch this video and I will see you there.